Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday at 2:15. As always, I am your buddy, the host with the most, president of Anjan, and the man behind Let's Talk Marketing. I am Sean M. Smith. I've been here every single week for 19 consecutive weeks, and this is Let's Talk Marketing, evidently, episode 19. 19 episodes. This is the hottest this show will ever get. If you get the joke, congratulations. You're a little bit gross. So no, we got something cool going on. For the first time ever, we have our friends at Facebook, which, as always, if you're checking out the show on Facebook, friends, while we're digging in, you got to go over to StreamYard.com/Facebook, hit the blue button so that your beautiful face or your handsome mug can be included in this week's show. That's what we want to see. Also, we're going to have friends at YouTube checking out the show, which happens every single week. We usually have Ethan and Zach comes in as well, too. Sometimes Josh comes in. And this is the first week we are actually at LinkedIn Live as well. So that is actually really, really cool. Very exciting times here for the show to be available on all three platforms simultaneously for the show. So super cool, mind-blowing times for a little show that could. But we're really hoping that you guys stick around. We have a cool show this week. We're going to be talking about interviews, their value in the marketing ecosystem, also kind of what scares you guys as far as marketing goes. We know that there's a lot going on as far as the space. And when you put out a release, what scares you? I mean, there's stuff that scares me, even still this day, 17 years in, there's stuff that scares the crap out of me when I do it. So I like to kind of like to talk about that myself, but I haven't asked you yet. I want to make sure. I've been rambling on for 2.5 minutes. Can you hear me fine? If you can hear me, give me the one. Yes. The Armadillo Stampede already gave me the one. There's my man. Thank you so much for giving me the preemptive one that you knew that I needed for my sanity, because the microphone obviously is off camera. I don't ever put it out in front of me anymore. Sean Jackson, thank you. Be clubbing it up, coming in here. You still owe me recommendations on some VHS stuff that I can get. Maybe a limited edition tape that's really terrible, because I'm doing my horror movie marathon with my buddy Josh. We're going to watch a whole bunch of really gross grindhouse stuff. And then we're going to I want to put in something palatable and kind of awful. So if you have a recommendation, I want to hear what that is. But like I said, this week's show, remember, guys, if you're on Facebook and you've never been in the comments before, head to StreamYard.com/Facebook and hit the blue button. And hopefully we can get you in here in the comments so that when you do things like what Sean did here, where he says, hey, pal, get this. YouTube, you automatically get in. So when Ethan says one, you're in. Everyone can hear me. We're all good. And that makes me feel oh so precious on the inside and special in my sport coat. And also, no rush on the recommendation. We got time. Listen, we're in a pandemic. I really don't see Josh running over anytime soon. I'm almost fully vaxxed. I got another week. One more week, and we'll be good. Then we'll just be wearing masks in the house, feeling weird about it. All right, so this week's show, we're actually talking about interviews. We're going to talk first, though, first, I'm going to say something fun. I'm going to show you this great color. Can you see what color this is? Can you tell what color this is? Every week I pull this up because the monitor's right there. Can you tell what color instantly, like, that Sean chose for the presentation? If you hadn't already seen it, you can tell what it is, right? You can tell that's red. But anyway, yeah. Hey, Porrick, thanks for coming out, man. Good to have you here. Let's see. Let's share. We'll share screen. Share screen. The window to the walls. All right, there we are. So let's talk Marketing 19. Brought to you by Anjan, which looks really good on that screen. What's up? Everybody, do it with me. What's up? I want to see it. What's up? Nobody? Really? Come on, guys. What's up? All right, this movie was terrible, but I'm gonna keep it up there to bother you. All right, anyway. So, what scares you the most about marketing your upcoming film release? Now, I know you guys may have seen this. I actually think I dropped this one in Jay Horton. Very good. This makes me happy. This makes me happy. This is the stuff right here that gives me hope. This gives me hope for a new generation. That's the one. Bud. Why I would for the follow up I should have done the Budweiser frogs. Oh, because weren't the frogs in the movie too? Didn't they do the frogs in the movie? I think they did the frogs in the movie too. Damn it. And the Jamaican guy. All right. So anyway, we talked about what scares you about marketing your upcoming film release because this is scary. I talk what comes off cavalierly about cavalierly. I talk very cavalierly. I don't know if that's a word. If it's a word, give me a one. I talk very flippantly, maybe. Also seems very disrespectful, but let's go for it. I talk pretty loosely about how we market and how we go about taking a film from it's out, it's creation, it's done, it's post production, and how we're going to actually put it and release it, and how we're going to distribute it, but not the distro part. I don't do distro. I do strict marketing and how we go about that. And I've done a lot of them. And from television shows to music releases to film releases. I've done film pre-acquisition as well too. And what I like to do is to kind of put together a plan that makes sense for this stuff. And what we're looking at is what scares you guys. I know it scares me, and some of it will come out in a minute. But we're gonna do a little bit of talky talk here as we go through the two different versions of hang on one sec, we'll be right back. Okay, so it turns out that the cam doesn't work the same way. Usually the battery does that, but I used the dummy battery plug-in and it still did it. Oh well, no worries. So Justin Snyder, who consistently has this point of view for me, spending money on useless marketing. Now he comes from that viewpoint of a lot of marketing is useless. A lot of marketing doesn't have an ROI. And we dug down in the comments on this point. And he brought that point up, that a lot of it, he's looking for ROI. And he asked me at the very end, well, what would the metrics be for you? Very simply. And I got very quick to the point of, well, it would be views before marketing, views after marketing, sales before marketing, sales after marketing, because that's the metric. Like if I do 30x, if I do 30 times better after, well, that's pretty good sales. It seems like it was worth the effort, especially if the money spent was only, 20% greater than what you were spending on your traditional advertising. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, or if I'm just talking to myself. Nope. Here's what Robert John Smith, I don't know if you guys have seen Robert John around a lot. He pops in and out, but he said, I don't find anything about marketing scary. It's very scientific. You just test. And I responded to tell him it's also about iteration. And you got to make sure that you put out as many multiple versions of things as possible. It's not just about putting your tests out there. It's about making sure that you're putting out as many iterations as possible. So A/B testing, which I'm sure he's also alluding to as well too. And man's got dozens and dozens of years of industry veteran stuff behind industry knowledge behind him. So he knows what he's talking about. And this is just an instance of, a guy that knows what he's doing, talking about what he wants, and makes a lot of sense. And hey to Josh Smith. Josh Smith showed up today. Good to see you, man. Hit that guy up on on Facebook about some Kickstarter stuff. Kids making moves again. Bo said not enough people watching is what's happening right now, right? So it looks like Bo put out some content and stuff just isn't resonating with people, which happens. I mean, a lot of people can put stuff out there and stuff isn't going anywhere. Think of it this way. Imagine putting out an internet show um, for marketing where you talk about film and your experience in film marketing, and you don't do anything. It drops like a turd after a week. Well, I'm still doing this because I lucked into the very first week that I did this. You guys all showed up to the tune of like 200 people. So it was like, okay, well, I'll just keep doing this because it seems like it's fun, and I've met a lot of really great people as a result. And that's what's kind of happened. Well, if it's a film and you've put money into it, a significant amount of money and a lot of effort, and you've written a script and you've directed the thing and you've got actors involved and their hearts and minds were won over into this project, you got a lot of work cut out for it. And, you're scared people aren't gonna watch and they won't care. And then also at the same time, your marketing, they're not gonna care about that as well too. I'm trying to get over to the second screen because over here, Josh Smith said the scariest part about marketing for me is trying to stand out. There's a lot of stuff out there that's kind of similar. It may not necessarily be all that different. It's very difficult to take yourself from like these two pens. They're both pens. One of these two pens is a killer pen, absolutely awesome pen, and the other one's a kind of so pen. And I'm going to tell you that the one pen has a really serious function and provides a better service than the other. One does something very specific, and the other one is just a really great fit for something that I do most of the time. And without marketing, I would pick this pen up, this one, and it feels flimsy, and I would instead use this pen. Not knowing that this pen here has a substantially larger role in it's erasable. It's a friction clicker pen, 0.07, which is a pretty good pen for me as far as the point tip. But now I turn this into pen talk. Let's talk pens. But this is the one that you can use in those Rocket books, which are reusable books, so that you can put them in the microwave and clean the book out. Yeah, I know the power of the pen, but that's the thing. That's the difference. This is another 0.7 precise pen, and it's a Pilot ballpoint, and people know Pilot pens. That's just the thing. So it's a toss up, but you got to market your pen. If I hadn't done something to tell you what this pen did, you would pick up this plastic pen and be like, yeah, plastic. This one feels weight. You feel heft. This feels different. You would take this pen and you would run with this pen, but you wouldn't think of this pen very much. Well, I have to tell you what this pen is. Most people don't even know what the hell a Rocket book is. That's the thing about Rocket book. It's the reason it hasn't really crossed over, and it's got a real niche audience. And I've told them that a bunch of times when it comes down to it. Like I've tried to help them out, but they're very comfortable with where they are. Like I have like 4 of them. And like, anyway, that's nothing to do with marketing, but that's the power of the pen. Over here, my project connecting. This is Jeff Carroll. I've known Jeff Carroll for I think about 5 years, and Jeff does books as well too. And Jeff has always talked about the stuff that he puts together is about finding a larger audience for him. And like you always fear not being able to connect with the audience you find. Even if you find the people that you're supposed to connect with, you can do all of your data. You can put together that analysis and find them. Oh yeah, there they are. It's it's this demographic and this psychographic data, and this is this person, and that's who they are. And you can do all of that, and then ultimately it comes down to like you just don't connect with them. You put together this big release, or even what if this really great idea? What if you can't see it? What if that great idea over there on that white dry erase board that I put together last week? What if that doesn't resonate? What if that does nothing? What if that falls flat and you put this huge plan together and it costs you $25,000 and it does nothing? What if you do nothing with it? And your whole budget was $100,000 and you put aside $25,000 for the marketing and it does nothing. And now you generally have a turd on your hands. What the hell do you do now? What do you do then? Well, you got to get creative, and you better figure it out quick because someone's going to be in $100,000 worth of trouble because you can't get more money. Yes, Porrick. And there's Porrick. It's Porrick. Rocketbook is savage. I have one and I love it. I have one. I have four. I have an orange one, um, two, one grid, two. So I have four. I do have four. One of them got damaged though. They sent me a free one because it shouldn't have ripped. The actual binding popped out. So here we go. Steve Hammond brings up a good point here. Stephen Hammond, going into debt, spending 10 times on the marketing than the movie costs to make, when we know 99% of films never make a return and the views from the marketing will probably never pay for themselves. Now, this is for indie film, especially, yes. But the thing is this, I think that first line is very unfair. And I went back to him with that point was, you know, you shouldn't be spending 10 times on the marketing. You shouldn't spend that much. You should set a budget and adhere to that budget. And if you get close to that budget, you stop. Or if you think you're going to do this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, and then that's going to get close to the budget, that's all you have. And then you have to learn to get creative. And when we got through the thread, he's like, oh, well, it's a little late for me on this. I can't really necessarily do that. And, too late to learn this. And I'm like, I got to be honest with you. If you don't want to spend 10,000 or 10 times the marketing budget that you had, or 10 times on the movie marketing or whatever you're saying here, like, you literally need to learn how to do this stuff. I'm not asking you to make 7 TikTok videos a week. I'm literally saying you need to learn how to email, find the email address for Fangoria, find their editorial email address on the about page or the contact page. Or if you can't find that, go to Twitter and ping them their editorial, their editor-in-chief, and be like, hey, what's the best page for us to reach out? And it'll annoy them. It sure will. And they may not write you back. But when they don't write you back, what you do is then you go through and do a search for @fangoria.com on Twitter and see if anyone else has ever posted that email address. And then you do it. That's what you do. Tim Talbot, my buddy. Everything should scare you, because if you are relaxed and calm, you are going to either screw something up or you're going to take something for granted. And I hope you don't do either, because realistically, there's too much at stake when you're doing this stuff. Just too much. It's a movie. It's your passion project. You love this thing. Didn't you put care and consideration and kindness and concern? And my office is dry right now, by the way. Anyway, these are all things that you care about. You want this to work. It should scare the crap out of you. And I hope it does. And I don't want it to. Hold on, I want to be clear. I don't want you to be scared of producing and directing. I do want you to be really cautious of the process and know that there's a lot to learn. And people like Tim, who runs the Boss program, I can't remember the Boss process. He walks people through producing through his course that he created. He literally says, like, here's step by step what you need to do to not lose the millions that I've lost. So take it for what it is. What do we got here? I'm at the beginning of producing a 6-part series, and I'm thinking of putting 10 to 20% of our overall budget towards marketing. Sure, that would set out outside of the project 15 to 20. 15 to 20. I have said 10 to 20 in the past for web series, as they call them, if you're doing online specials. But 15 to 20, mostly because you want to make sure that extra 5% is going to make a big difference somewhere. Somewhere. You could afford to do more. If you were doing a feature, I could also say 25%. It depends on the length of the series as a whole. If you're doing 6 parts and you're over feature length, you could say 25%. But if you're talking 2 hours worth of content, I don't know. How long is it, Parik? How long? And I'm still Porik or Parik. I keep screwing it up. I'm very bad at that. I'm terrible. I'm very sorry. At least we agree on Rocketbook. Can't agree on your name because I keep screwing it up. Okay, here we go. Now, Zach Blackwell, Zach's friend of the show, another one of our big friends of the show. Zach said, no set in stone distribution just yet. Waiting for replies from Filmocracy. my buddies at Filmocracy, where I do my once a month show, which will be debuting permanently soon. Wondering if I even submitted it correctly. When confirmed, I want to start marketing strategy to keep track of data and just make that data open source for other filmmakers, whether we fail or not. So I want everything as objectively in stone as possible, so you can start tracking and see what works and what doesn't, to refine it for next time. My microphone's in the way, that's why I'm moving around like a weirdo. It's hard to sit on pins and needles worrying about rejection, or worrying that you may have submitted something incorrectly and that you could be the reason for said rejection. That said, you got to, first off, never be scared that you went out on a goddamn limb, ever. We are writers, and we are directors and producers and filmmakers, and we are dreamers, and never ever feel bad for going out on a limb, ever, because you're going to need to go out on a limb to market your stuff, to reach out to people, to reach out to sites, to reach out to podcasts, to reach out to radio stations, to reach out to websites. So it's just, you can't worry about it. Second, the most important thing that you can do is make anything related to marketing data-driven. Make decisions based not on emotion, but on data. Take the data that's presented to you. So if you see this decision on this post and this post and this post on this day happened this way, use that data to not post the exact same thing the next week at the same time, but use it to massage your content to be very similar in a comparable vein. So you're not just putting things out there that are like, oh, I talk about Sean Jackson and B Club on Tuesdays because last week on Tuesdays I got 16 likes, and this is like, you got 16 likes because Sean saw for the first time we talked about him. He left a comment, and a bunch of other people in the B Club came over and talked about you for the first time. They're not going to do that every time. It'd be pandering. So they're not going to do that. So just cut the crap. Figure out what you should do is actually talk about other clubs every week. You get what I'm saying? Like, you should give as well too as take. Just kind of a thing. All right, Paul Rick, what do we got? 180 minutes total. We'll call him P. 180 minutes total, and I considered 20%. Wasn't sure. Thought it was too much, but I'm going to look at it again now. You're close enough with the name. Okay, yeah. I mean, the only reason that I would lean towards that is because you are dealing with so much content that you're going to be chopping up and putting out there. And if you're reaching out like on, I'm going to use index cards to do this. Like, here is, like, if you're going weekly syndication, like here's week 1, week 2, week 3, you're going to need to reach out to sites on week 1, and you need like 16 sites. And week 2, 16 sites. And week 3, 16 sites. And you're also going to need week 1 podcast, week 2 interview, week 3 video feature. And like week 1, you're going to need TikTok influencer. Week 2, you're going to need, you're going to need all of these things that you're going to need to be managing. It's not going to be expensive. It's going to be costly in time part, but you're going to need to make sure that you're taking care of, when it comes time for the expensive stuff, that it's there. And that expensive stuff's going to be front loaded at the very, very beginning. Front loaded, mid loaded, and then end. Front, middle, end. So that you can do that, because you want to make sure that people see the beginning, people catch up and binge to the middle, and then at the very end catch up. You want to make sure all the people that had lapsed, like lapsed Catholics, people that lapsed on the series in the middle, finish the series, or people that didn't see it at all binge the whole thing, because you're saying there's not that much. You want to make sure that they see the whole thing, so you want to take them through the whole experience, and that's not that hard. So I hope that makes sense. Let's get off what Zach said here. What's next? Yes. And most important thing of all, this is how I feel every single time I talk, not knowing enough about marketing. And there's an LOL here, and I think that's meant to laugh. I don't think I'm laughing when I say it. I think sometimes I don't know enough about marketing. And then I laugh anyway. It's so true. So true. I decided to wear, by the way, I'm digging my coat today. I think it was a solid choice. It's not necessarily the warmest weather here today in Maryland, but the coat says something. It's speaking to me. I hope you guys like it. So we're gonna minimize this sucker for a minute. Snack Attack is the Chronicles of Narnia. All right. We'll go back to that in a minute. Oh yeah, so that's pretty good. I mean, the thing is, everyone, like I keep saying, like everyone has general fears and anxieties about these campaigns. Man, I'm going to tell you that the one that got me the most wasn't like everyone thinks it's Star Wars, or that it is going to when I did Spike Guy's Choice Awards and I went to the Playboy Mansion and Sony Picture Studios. Like everyone thinks it's those two. It is not. It is Monty Python. When we launched Monty Python on digital, I think it's 2009. Man, not Carfax, not Joel Osteen, not there's so many. Like it's none of them. It's literally Monty Python because you're sitting there like, wait, I got content from who? I'm going to talk to who? Yeah, wait, I'm going to be speaking to who? Oh, okay. Should I tell them that I used to watch Flying Circus as a kid? It was like Hammer House of Horror and Flying Circus. That was my Sundays as a child. Should I? No, I shouldn't tell them that. That'll make them uncomfortable. They're going to be uncomfortable by my conversation with them. So everyone has anxieties, man. It's all right. The difference is that you've paid the money for these shows or for the films and the shows, and you just need to understand that. Take a breath, take a step back, and know that there are resources like myself, both simple questions and then also paid as well if you need that support. But then also other filmmakers that have been around and like people like Zach Blackwell. Zach seems to get it. Josh Smith is doing a good job with the questions he's asking. Ethan, when he chimes in, everything he says makes a lot of sense as well too. And I really do think that we're grooming we're doing a good job of putting together a nice segment of filmmakers that are getting it. And I think that that's important. And then you got Jason Horton. I mean, guys, Jason Horton, like he's got 2,800 followers on his Facebook group. He's got 2,800 followers on YouTube. He's got like 1 million videos, and they're all doing great. And he's also like the nicest guy. So he did the show here. Actually, I'm on his show in 10 days. So that'll be cool. And we can talk about it. But anyway, so we're going to move back into the show. I'm going to move. Hang on. I had to full screen this thing. Moving on. So I told you we had to talk about interviews. People have actually asked me, not necessarily in the last 2 weeks, but back right before we had right before I had grown my mustache back. So we're talking probably February. We had kind of had the discussion that this guy here, boop, hey pal, good to see you. Good to see you too. This kid looks like one of my son's friends. That's why I put it in here. About interviews, like the value of an interview, like what they mean in the whole span and scope of the marketing landscape. Because, excuse me, when people are pursuing pieces of marketing, they're not thinking like, well, should I be pursuing interviews? And I'm like, no, listen, guys, let's talk a little bit about it here because it's kind of important that you understand the value. So interviews won't move the needle. Okay. That was the question that I put up. And I put it up in the Jay Horton because I wanted to see what you guys would say. And of course, right away, we just got some thoughts. And we're going to marinate in these. I want to have a little talk if we can. But the guy answered right away, the big guy. And of course, it updated on my screen, but not. There we go. False. He said false, that they can't move the needle. Jason said, I can tell you how many indie movies or products. I can't tell you how many indie movies or products I've bought after hearing the director or artist on a podcast or video interview. Man, makes sense. That's the idea. Think of it a musician, okay? This is no different. Think of a band on like Top of the Pops or Soul Train or TRL back in the day. And they're on the show to promote their new album, and they play a song, their new single, and then they and then they play the single, and then they do a little interview, and then they play another song, and then they whisk them off the show, and then that's it. And that was their little media appearance for the day. And they might go to Rolling Stone down the road. They might go hit up Spin Magazine, do a couple other interviews, make it a nice little day. Make it a nice little day. That sounds brutal. It just sounds like it sucks. It's like, yeah, I want to make music for a living, and you're just like, yep, there we go, fix the mustache. But it's no different. The difference here is we can't generate as indie filmmakers and I'll say I'm an indie marketer, right? As an indie marketer, I can't necessarily generate that style of quote unquote junket. I can't get that number the way that I'd like. I would love to have 6 interviews set up for someone like Jay Horton. I would love to set it up for him. That can't be done as easily as we'd like, but I can get him 2. I can get him 2 in a day. I can get him 2 in a week. I'm sure he'd be really happy to have that conversation, or maybe not, but it'd be worth trying. But he's a likable guy, right? So who wouldn't want to check out one of his films if he was talking about himself? Well, here's the other half of this whole thing. What about an artist, or not an artist? What about an actor? What about an actor, or what about an actress, and they're in it? Because that's the hook. The bait on this one is to get an actor or actress and the director and get them together. And in this Zoom age right now, where we can do anything from anywhere, and we don't even need to use phones anymore with their terrible signal, we can literally just hook it up and do that. I mean, we were notorious for having to set up phones and be on the phone and then hang up the line and let them sit on the phone and do the interview, and then have the artist or talent call us back. And then no, now we can just sit there on the call with them, tape the whole call so that they have a copy as well for their reel or whatever, for their coverage book. This is cool. This is a cool thing, and that's really what they should do, is just take care of it, But anyway, you want to be likable, you want to be liked, and you want people to care about your work. This is the way to do it. Isaac Rodriguez said, as long as it shows up when people Google the movie, it looks good when a bunch of articles and videos show up about the movie, and he's right. There's no better way to kind of juice up the SEO. And I talk about this every time I do a jam board with the SEO. I never go to that section because realistically, I'm building the rest of the campaign for movie SEO with these placements, with the digital PR, with the interviews, right? With interviews, with reviews of the film, with actor interviews, stuff like that. Like you're building up that campaign on its own, and you don't need to. You don't need to go in there and build a website that's so overly SEO laden that's not going to index with it in 3 months. I got a blog site that's not going to index. And I know Ethan does websites too. I don't know if he wants to chime in on this, but if something's not going to index for 3 months, I don't really see the point in putting so much effort into it, especially if it's going to be out of cycle within 90 days. What's the point? Just put together a nice site that's there as it's a dead tree. See if Ethan responds. Sorry. Every time I drink from that mug, I wanna hum or sing Holy Diver. All right, here we go. I tend to like a movie more if I like its creator. That's from Brian Darwas. I like Brian's point. Obviously I respond back to all these comments when I see them because it's important for people to realize that I'm connected to the concepts here. And I really appreciate when people participate in my threads. But I tend to like a movie more if I like its creator. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I tend to like anything more if I like the person in charge. Anything. And I think everyone feels that way. If you look at something and you think someone's a jerk, you're not going to like it. If you look at something and you think someone's a cool guy, you get it. That's what he said. Ethan said, sites can be indexed pretty quick. Doesn't mean they start high in ranking. I'm dealing with a site that won't index a blog page at all. Just the blog page. Just the blog. Help me. Computer. Stop all the downloading. If you get the reference, rad. Get the reference, that's cool. But yeah, no. And Ethan, you're the best. Thank you for chiming in. I figure you're right. My thing is that I I struggle with the idea of putting that much effort, like sweat equity, into a website that's never going to trend for. You're never going to try and target a word or a keyword or a phrase that's going, or a long tail keyword that's going to be something valuable. Like you're never going to be looking up like horror movie summer top hit. That's a terrible one. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. Top horror movie of the holiday season. You know, um, like, are you really ever gonna try for that? I mean, if you do, that's cool. But like, what are we gonna get from it? So I don't know. I don't know. You can look it up. I'm just being silly. That was silly. It was a silly example. Silly example. Brian Darwas, thank you for chipping in. Jordan Garland with it doesn't have to move the needle. The purpose is to enlighten and communicate information. What the viewer does from there is on them. Jordan, thank you for chiming in. It's appreciated. But most important thing is that listen, these interviews are important. They communicate something bigger to an audience, and they help to spread the word and talk a little bit about the person. It's branding. I mean, at the very beginning, before you start any exercise in marketing, this is why at the very beginning of your film you work on branding. What is your film? It's not just it's a horror film. It's just like, what is your film? Who is it for? What is your color scheme? What are you trying to evoke with your with your script? All the little things. You get it down so you can figure it out, so that you can consistently meet those areas of need, and then you move forward with it. Oh, oh, look at this one. If one interview doesn't move the needle, it'll give you practice for the one that does. And that practice might be the one that is a hit. Here's Ethan. Hey, buddy. This one was actually the one that made the most sense to me. I like this one the most. Because realistically, it's this. It's about repetition. It's practice. Like, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes permanent. All right, so let's try that again. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm back. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes permanent. All right, so again, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes permanent. The idea is that if you go in there and just consistently put in perfect reps, not meaning 100 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, you put in 80 miles an hour and you do it perfect every single time, that makes it permanent so that you can do it at 100 miles an hour. Well, with an interview, if you go in there and you learn how to communicate and listen and process and think and respond, you go in there for an interview and you go in there and that maybe you have a bad interview. Job interviews are that way. You go in there and you have a crappy job interview. You think you're supposed to nail everyone? No, everyone has bad job interviews. I've probably had 20 bad job interviews in my time. I mean, I had a job. This is for everyone to know. I had a job interview one time, and I will tell you privately, if you want to know, hit me up on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. I will tell you who it was. The company, I sat down for the interview, and the person asked me if I was listening to any rap lately or who my favorite rap artists were. I was like, oh, well, I don't listen to a lot of rap. I was like, I kind of segmented against. I listen to a lot of backpack hip hop lately. I was like, so I'm listening to blank, blank, and blank. And the person got up and left the room. 3 minutes. I was in the office for 3 minutes. That person was sitting with me for under one, left the office, went back to his office, pretended he got called to another meeting. I left and I got escorted out of the building. It's a great interview. It's a great interview. I really wish I could put you guys in my head to see me sitting there going, did he just leave? Did he? And I wanted to work at that company too. I wanted to work there. So yeah. And needless to say, that guy is now one of the heads of Sony Pictures marketing. He's like the VP of marketing. So yeah, if you want to look him up, man. He doesn't remember that at all. He does not remember that. He must have been having like the worst day ever, and he just did not want a 20-something person telling him that there's a difference between rap and hip hop and backpack hip hop. He just did not like that. And I ran an indie music website, so I don't think he liked that. I don't think he liked that at all. All right, hold on one sec. Let's see what Ethan said. Ethan said Scotland has Nessie, Vermont has Champy. This is an example where SEO on a keyword matters. I would spend more time working on page SEO for that film than I would for others. All right. All right. We had an SEO talk. SEO, let's talk SEO. Well, next time, how about this? Next time we do a jam board, how about you show up and help me with the SEO portion instead of us neglecting it for a change? We neglect it every time. And lastly, Zach coming at it. I think it moves the needle in the grand scheme of things. I had to literally cut this out because there's no way I could put this in the white box. In the grand scheme of things, maybe not just for one film, but over time, and it moves collaboratively. An interview is content for the interviewer and marketing for the individual being interviewed. It is not just a good for me, this is good for us. If you're interviewed, ask if the content can be shared with a digital format and keep all the hold on, where are we? If you share in digital format and keep all content data, including the link and interviews contact info. You never know when it once again become useful. That's my take on it. And it's true. It is true. Honestly, that is what you need to do. That is networking. You got to shake those hands. Shake them. Yeah, get out there and shake those steakums. I just wanted to say steakums today because I'm in the mood for some steakums. I'm trying to convince my wife to have Philly cheesesteak tonight. She doesn't eat beef, but I think I'm going to get a Philly cheesesteak, and I don't know what she's going to have, but whatever. It's about my feelings right now. I'm clearly in the mood for a Philly cheesesteak. You know, I do this show. I should reward myself. But yeah, we'll come to words of the week in a minute. I usually do more of a passionate reveal of that, but we clearly can't now. Can't do that reveal now. Let's just reveal Eric again. All right. So, I don't think you guys should ever neglect the opportunity for an interview. I think you should pursue them. I think Chris Bickle, who is on all the film groups as well, too, is one of the first person I talked to when I first started coming into all the film groups and met you guys maybe 24, 25 weeks ago. He's been really great about it. That was one of the things I loaded up him with was just like literally take every interview opportunity you can. Just go out there and just talk. Just talk to people, meet people. Once you put out a film, people are going to want to talk to you. And you need to just go out there and just be like, hey man, I'm Chris Bickle. Talk to me. I'm Christopher Bickle. And that's what you need to do. And, I can't take any credit for him and his success in doing so. His reviews and interview, he did a great job with his Bad Girls film. So I'm just happy for him. I'm just happy for him. I'm just a happy dog. Just a happy. I need music. I need like a soundboard. I think I'm going to get one. Let me know what you guys think of that idea. If you like that, give me a 1. Have music. Is it too quiet? Too much just my voice? Just like some, because I can't play real music. I have to play like royalty free music. So I have to play like Ben sound. Yeah, Park. It's it's a lot of my voice. I know. All right. Well, guess what we're gonna do? Words of the week. All right. This is a segment of the show that happens every single Tuesday, and in it we get crazy, just bonkers crazy. The idea is this: my 7-year-old son comes into this deck at every single week, takes 3 words that he's grabbed from random word generator and drops them into 3 slides. What I am supposed to do is tie these words into either my career, marketing, or film marketing. Depends on what we're feeling at that time. Oh, this would be dope. That would be really dope. Super, super, super dope. So we're gonna see how I do this week on the surprise, because it's really fun. Like it's first thing in the morning, and it's before he goes to school. And what I do is I finish the deck, I do all the color stuff, and then I give him the computer, and I say, "Here, you're done." And then I tell him to scroll all the way back to the top, and then I close it for the day, and then I don't look again until now. So yeah, I gotta do some sound effects. Maybe I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We'll do this. We'll make it big time. We'll make it big time. All right, now I just gotta figure out what to do. All right, here we go. First ball up. Situation. Well, here's the easiest thing. You can end up in a pretty the situation that you find yourself in with most marketing problems is that you run out of money. Okay. The easiest way to not do that is to set your budget ahead of time. And I'm saying 10 to 20 or 15 to 25% based on the length of your project. All right. So if you're looking at like a 60 to 90 minute, go 10 to 20. If you're going anywhere from 120 to 180, you're going to go bigger than that. So 15 to 25%. You want to make sure that you're able to sit down, put your budget together, and then adhere to that budget so that you don't end up in a situation where you are completely and totally screwed, asked out of money, and you have nothing that you can do but try to build organically. But that being said, dude, you can be creative. You can be creative and put your nose to the grindstone and get yourself out of that situation too. I mean, don't think that there aren't companies and people that's all they do. That's all they do. They just grind. You can just grind. Interviews, reviews, reviews, DVD reviews. Like, just you can do anything. Anything is possible. Calf. Oh, this is great. The golden calf. The golden calf of digital marketing is the email list. Here is why. The open list on the open percentage rate on an email list is higher than the click-through rate on any other piece of marketing. So when I do my 9 pieces of interest on a Jamboard, nothing else comes close. Email marketing still sits between 13 and 18%. Whereas anything else, a click through, especially from a website, which is the next closest, sits around 10 at the highest. I'm not sure if TikTok does anything that's sitting high. I don't know what their adoption rate looks like, but Instagram is still only 10 on the highest level. So we'll see. Right now, Golden Calf is going to be email. Dig it. Quality. And when it comes down to it, the only thing that will ever stop you from succeeding at marketing your film is its quality. The film can be crappy, but there's still going to be an audience for it somewhere. It's a matter of connecting humbly with the audience with a quality campaign. So that's me. That's it. What do you guys think? 1s and 2s. 1's for good, 2's for okay, 3's for gobshite. 1, 2s, and 3's if you like those for this week. Actually, wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. I'll give myself a 1. I'm going to give it a 1. I like it. And I swear if I get a gobshite from Park, you're dead. No 3 from P. No 3 from P. 1.2 from Ethan. I'll take it. 1.2 from Ethan. I'll take it. Thank you, America. 1 from Park. I'll take it. America. Well, actually, no. Well, I mean, for me, America. Let's go here, and we'll move it next to the most important slide of all. Where to find me? 3.5. That's messed up. I'll remember this so much that you said that. I'll remember that right there. Right there will be remembered. I need it. You know, I use a music bed. I should put a bed of music underneath. That's what I need. Maybe I can do that with Google. We'll figure it out. Anyway, where to find me? On Facebook, you can find me at Sean Michael Smith. On Twitter, where I'm getting super active again, which is super fun. I missed it. Sean M. Smith. Instagram and Twitch, both are S222. On YouTube, you can find me at Sean Smith 22. every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I have a podcast with my 7-year-old son that comes out then. It is called Potato Salad Marmalade. You can get that at potatosaladmarmalade.com or check it out at anchor.fm/potato salad marmalade. And that is going to be it for me this week. I am super stoked that you came. Most important thing I want to offer is this. If you have never taken the 45-minute call with me, anyone that comes to the show, I'd like to extend the offer to you. Let's sit down and talk. I'm not trying to sell anything. I would love to just sit and have a talk about your goals and see where we're at. Not necessarily saying that we could say that I'm a fit for something that you're trying to do, but maybe I could help clear up some roadblocks for you and help you move in a better direction. Go.oneself.com/SeanMSmith. Just look at my calendar, see what is available. Yes, Porrick, as of yesterday, I am officially on Clubhouse. I just realized I need to add that. I am at Clubhouse. I'm at Sean M. Smith on Clubhouse. I got Sean M. Smith. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So what I'll do is I'm going to start going through there and checking that out. I'm an Android user, so I finally got that. But that is it for me. You guys have any other questions this week? If that is, I'll give you a minute to ask them if you do. All right. Let's call it a day. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the show this week. Always a blast. You guys mean the world to me. It makes me so happy to come in here and hang out every Tuesday. So peace out. We will talk soon. Check out the link. Wait, it's that way. Check out the link. If you want to have a call, let's do this. Go to oneself.com/SeanMSmith. We'll talk soon. Take care, buddy.